All right, and we're going live now.
You got a collection over there, I see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, perfect. Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us today, someone who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the great Pastor Tim Rogers. How are you doing today, sir?
God bless you, man. Peace and blessings to you.
Yes, sir. Peace and blessings to you as well, sir. Okay. Well, Pastor, the first thing that we want to, and my sister says, peace, family. Everybody's showing you love already. The first things we want to know is, when did you know that you had a calling?
When did I know that I had a calling?
Yes, sir.
Boy, this is gonna be good. You know, it's kind of two sides to that, but the first one I want to look at is just to answer that question. It's gonna be around 18, 19 years old that I realized that I had a calling and a burning, I would call it, because I don't know if it was a matter of God calling me to do it or having a burning to do it. I've been raised in church all my life. And my dad was a pastor, he was a preacher. So I had a burning to preach around 18, 19 years old.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. All right. And how do you go from having a burning, having a calling, to now you becoming a minister, becoming a pastor? How did that transpire?
Well, like I said, being raised in church, I'm 42 now, and all of my days have been in church. I was born into the church. My dad was pastoring at my mom's small family church, and I started preaching when I was 19. Preached my first sermon when I was 19, and I started pastoring when I was 22.
Okay.
And you have to do that because, you know, pastoring a family church, you know, dad being sick, he pastored actually to me before he died. So I was actually pastoring before he died. So I had to kind of take over when he was leaving us. And that's kind of how I started pastoring. It was kind of like placed upon me. It was, you know, it was put in my hands. So that's kind of how pastoring came about.
Yes, sir. Okay, great. And people are showing you love all across the country, and I can't wait to put this on YouTube and let you get the love there as well. Now, yes, sir. My father's a minister. So me and my mother's 4 children, we grew up hearing that preachers' kids, you know, were bad. How did you kind of overcome that stereotype of bad preacher kids for you becoming a pastor? How did you break that stereotype?
Well, I'm an 80s baby, you know. I was born in 80s, so I was born in a time where, you know, I was a preacher kid, but man, my dad was kind of lean, but my mama did not play. So if I was bad, I didn't want nobody to know about it, right?
Yes, sir.
Because if she knew about it, it was gonna be a wrap. I'm from that generation.
Okay.
So,
yes, sir.
you know, I turned out to be pretty cool because my mom and dad, you know, I mean, they drug us to church. We were in church week in and week out. You know, my daddy was a revivalist. You know, he preached everywhere. I mean, during the week, Sundays, just in church all the time. Yeah, you know, so yeah. So.
Okay. Yes, sir. All right. My next question is: I see when I just Googled your name, so much of your artistry, of course, your ministry, but of your musicianship and your artistry came up. How did you get so passionate about being a singer?
Well, that goes back to my upbringing in church too, Brother Joshua, man. Man, my dad sang, my sister sang. I mean, just around singing, gospel singing. I'm talking about traditional gospel singing. I'm talking about the soulful singing, you know. So I was raised up around that. So I saw it. So one day, you know, of course, when you're around it, they're gonna use you. So I was playing drums in church. So I was a musician, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And just trying to I'm not gonna say I'm a I'm a perfectionist on anything musically because I just don't know how to play like that. But I play enough to write and compose songs and stuff like that. But yeah, it came just being a ranch, man. It's all of that came just being in church every week, man.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. My sister Naima says peace. Miriam, my sister Miriam says, what gospel artist inspire you the most?
What gospel artist inspires me the most? You got some good questions. Y'all got some good questions. Because I got a lot of, I've been touched by a lot of gospel artists, but I guess I probably can say I've been probably touched by, it's a couple of people. I've been touched by Al Green, I've been touched by Harvey Watkins Jr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've been touched by, Melvin and Doug Williams, like singers like that. Gospel, and I'm talking about traditional gospel. Now, gospel, period, Kim Burrell can sing gospel to me all day. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. People are showing you love. And oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much. All right. And my next question for you is, in that same line of gospel, what advice would you give to young people who want to pursue their artistic, passion, like, who want to be singers and in the church, or if they want to, play the drums? What advice would you give to them?
If it's in you, it's in you. If it's something you want to do, you can. First of all, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Yes,
whatever you fix your mind to do, and whatever you will do, you can do it. I would say, be comfortable with being you. A lot of people coming up in the art today, we feel like we have to be like so many others, and we feel like we have to fit so many molds. But I'm blessed to have the mindset of just being comfortable with being Tim Rogers across the board. No matter who I'm with, no matter what I'm singing, I just want to be Tim Rogers.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Rogers, Brother Tony, when he suggested you as a guest, he sent me a picture of you with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and said that you all had a great meeting. Can you let us know how did that come about, and what happened?
Man, well, first of all, salute to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I mean, he's an icon, he's a blessing, he's a brother, and most of all, he's a teacher, and he opened my eyes. I want to say that for the record. And I'm a Christian kid. I grew up in church. So growing up in church, you have to stay away from, voices like that or minds like that. So it was a step to actually open myself up to receive the revelation. But man, the minister has been a tremendous blessing in my evolution, in my spiritual evolution, And that day was just, I mean, I didn't even know it was going to happen. I woke up one morning actually just wanting to meet the minister, because I was listening to him every day for like at least a year and a half. Mm-hmm. He was my teacher. He was my Sunday school teacher. He was my Sabbath day teacher. Mm-hmm. And man, he put that burning in me too, to just share the truth of God. And I wanted to meet him. And I went out to Detroit. I wrote him a letter. They gave me the directions on how to connect. And I wrote the minister a letter, and he responded. I went out to Detroit. I think it was I think it was the Day of Atonement, 2018, Detroit. That was my first time going to any of the functions. And when I tell you it was heavy, and it was just, the Holy Day of Atonement. And I was with Minister, I was connected with Minister Dunn, and somehow, man, he got me a sit down with the minister, and I got to say that is one of the best days of my entire existence, to just experience the minister up and close. When I was there, I sat next to him. He had them to pull up a chair for me, and I sat next to him. And I'm a Christian kid, never been in this atmosphere before. It's charged. It's just, the atmosphere is just charged with just glory and peace and blessings, And then, being kicked out of the church, I was frowned upon in the church. And I walked in this room with Minister Farrakhan and the whole crew. And man, all I got was love and smiles. And, oh man, it was one of the best days. So to answer your question, let me let up off of that. It was one of the best days of my life to sit there with the minister. I felt like literally, I felt like one of the 12 disciples. I'm serious. Like, I preached about the 12. I preached about Jesus and his crew. But it was only that day that I literally kind of I was like, I know what Peter must have felt like. Sit next to Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And just listening to him talk and, share. It was one of the best days of my life.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excellent. Okay. People are showing you love all over the country, and they bear witness and beautiful testimony. Beautiful. Brother Shaheed, Naima, Miriam, everybody showing you love. Okay, great. Now, okay, so you're there, the spirit is high, energy is positive, and do you tell the minister about you being kicked out of the church, or do you tell him, explain what's going on, or what happened?
That's a good question, because when I came in, I'm a little country boy. I'm from Bliswell, Arkansas. I'm from the country, man. We have to talk about Memphis as it relates to work. So I'm from the country. So it was impressive to me that when I walked in, the minister knew I had come from Arkansas to see him. He was like, they told me, brother, you came from Arkansas to see me. I could see his face lit up now, And he was like, can you bless me? And I was like, I need you to bless me. And he started referring to Jacob, He was like, what's the guy's name that wanted to bless him? So the guys called out Jacob. And that's when he asked him to pull up a seat. He was like, would you have dinner with me? I was like, to sit and dine with you. But he knew I was from Arkansas. He knew the name of my church. That was impressive. I was like, wow. But I wasn't pastoring the church that he called out, but that's the church that I'm at now. It's my home church, Prince of Peace. So anybody that did any work on me, then Prince of Peace was going to come up. But at the time I was pastoring a little church that I started. It was called the Hope Church. But you could tell that the minister he had heard a little bit about me and who I was and coming. And I just thought I was like, wow, I came from Arkansas. This is Minister Louis Farrakhan. Like, I didn't even know I was going to meet the teacher, but he knew it. And I took it from there. To answer your question, I didn't have to tell him about it. He kind of alluded to it as if I read your story and I heard about you. They told me about it. And he gave me directions without being direct, And I tell my mom this because my mom is Christian. She's 84 years old. And they tried to scare my mom away from me because it was like, that's him. He sounds like a Muslim. He listened to Louis Farrakhan and him and da 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 da, And that was just to turn my mom away.
Yes, sir.
but it didn't work. It failed. You know, but I didn't have to tell him about it. He knew it. He gave me directions without even just going through details. But what I like about it is he talked to me in a way like, well, you know, you don't have to become a Muslim to make change, you know? But, and it was kind of like he sensed that I was in trouble. And he was like, feed your family. Because being connected to me can be troublesome if you're not able to stand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, I know what it means to be with Jesus, or a person like Jesus, you know? And that if you connect with me, you're going to inherit, you know, the things, you know, that are against me. So he was like, feed your family, man. You know, you don't owe me you don't owe me any allegiance, you know? And I just listened. I just listened to him. And, you know, I started to get it. I took his voice as the voice of God talking to me. I started to get it because he was giving me directions, because he started to say, you know, he says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when the Black church wakes up, you know, he called that, you know, the resurrection. That's a part of the resurrection. So I started to, he was just talking and I was just taking it all in and I was listening and I was like, okay, this is my new assignment. I have to start the revival in the world of Christendom. This is my work. You know, I have to raise the dead among my people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Like Minister Farrakhan has done for many, many years, you know, for our people. You know, so I'm just doing it in the world of Christendom, you know, because Christians are hard to break through, especially these Christians from the South, man. Like, man, once they believe it, it's there, you know, like,
yes, sir, yes,
you know,
sir.
And I don't blame them. I'm not kicking nobody for it, like, because we didn't do this to ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
You know, like we didn't do this to ourselves. We didn't make ourselves like this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I don't even know if I'm talking too much, Minister Joshua here, but to get back to where we were, I really didn't have to tell the minister anything. It was as if he already knew and he was talking to me, you know, without going into details, just giving directions. And I must say, from that day, I walked out of that hotel suite, you know, one of the best dinners I ever had. I'm talking about the soup and everything was just like I was eating out of heaven's kitchen, you know what I'm saying? I'm serious. You know, I walked out of that room and man, I've been going live every Monday since I got a Bible study, SAG. We go live every Monday and every Monday I say this because of the minister, I have all of my listeners to tap in. The revival continues, you know, because it was when I was with the minister that I understood that, you know, you don't have to come over here and turn into this to be, you know, a help and be a reach, you know, like Christians need to be raised. That's right. And I kind of heard that and I was like, okay. And, you know, this is what he told me. And that I went home and I said, I'm not going to stop until I get it. You know, he told me to, you know, understand the language or master the language of the people. It was something to that, you know, like, it was like, make sure you master the language of the people. Speak yes, sir. Their language. If you're going to deliver them, speak their language, understand their language. And I went home as a Bible student, you know, I mean, because the minister gives you revelation. You know, yes, it's one thing to read the Bible, but it's another thing to understand the Bible, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And
so that's kind of how that went.
Yes, sir. And Ms. Aisha saying eating out of Heaven's Kitchen. People saying Mr. Shahid said the South must rise. Real talk. Yes, sir. People are showing you love. Okay, now we're coming right back to our pastor. And thank everyone who continues to like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast. Pastor, we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. I want to thank everyone who continues to show love on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube, all across the country. And people are showing, we're going to come back and we're going to ask the pastor, how can we tune in to his services and what days can we go to Bible study, and people all across the country of different denominations can tap in. If you all like to be a sponsor of the People's Podcast, please cash out the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book, coloring book, and now Spanish book, all three available on Amazon. Please get those. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually young girls all across the country, right here in the studio of Atlanta, Georgia. Rock Communications. If you're working on a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rock Communications. Fashion Guys, Urban Streetwear, 314-329-6009. He'll keep you dripping in the best of fashion. Thank you very much. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad, Conflict Mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region. He does a phenomenal job. His wife, Sister Fudia, Children of the Most High, giving birth to a God in the science of child rearing. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire, ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services out of Chicago. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Right back to our brother and pastor. Okay, yes, sir. So now, Pastor, can you let us know where can we go to hear your sermons, and where can we go to hear your music?
Well, let's start with the music first. The music is everywhere they sell music digitally. You type in Pastor Tim Rogers or Tim Rogers and the Fellas, then all of my music should come up. I have at least 4 or 5 records, is it? About 5 records. But if you put my name in the search engine, then everything that I've that I've done, even the features that I've done with other artists, should come up if you put the name in the search engine.
Yes, sir.
You can find my music everywhere. Make sure you bless yourself with some Tim Rogers and the Fellas, or Pastor Tim Rogers.
Okay, yes, sir.
And as it relates to our Bible study, right now, our Bible study is on Facebook. It is right now. It's under Pastor Tim and the Fellas page, right? That's my group page. So we just go live from the group page. And that's every Monday at 7:30 Central Time. Yeah, Central Time. Yeah. So hey, come through. I've had Minister Jamil Muhammad come through the Bible study. I love to see Muhammad's down the timeline. It just makes me feel good to know my brothers in my corner, because what I'm doing, they done already heard it. They didn't, they understand what's happening. So yeah, you can find us at Pastor Tim Rogers and the Fellas every Monday night, 7:30 Central Time.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. My next question is, do you ever go on tour with your music and or with your speaking? Do you ever come to Atlanta and perform or speak?
I do. Are you in Atlanta?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I just saw you post a picture of your dad. Is that your dad? Mm-hmm. Was that your dad? Was his name Minister? What's his brother? What's his name?
Sharif. Yes, sir.
Brother Sharif. I've never shook your dad's hand, but of course I watch, videos of the minister. I done watched almost every lecture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Almost. Your dad is a fireball, man.
Oh, yes, sir.
You tell your dad I said assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir. I'll be sure to let him know.
Sir. Yes, sir. I love him. I love his spirit and his drive and he fired up, man. For
yes, sir. Yes, praise sir. God. Yes, sir.
But I do tour, Brother Joshua. I do tour I do evangelize. I'm on the road a lot,
Mm.
singing, preaching. Just depend on where I'm being called. But yeah, I'm always on the road. Always on the road.
Okay, great. Well, next time you come to Atlanta, we got to make sure that we have a face-to-face so we can break bread. And I would love to pick your brain and hear some more about, how you pastored the church since you've been so young. But to also, I'm an actor and performer, so if you ever need somebody to open up, what I'm saying, while you perform, just let me know. Y'all been doing some church plays, let me know. You know what I'm saying? We can collaborate.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay, I
sir.
just have
Yes, sir.
two more questions for you, Pastor. In
Okay.
life, what has been your greatest trial, and how have you overcome that trial?
In life, what has been my greatest trial?
Yes, sir.
And how did I overcome it?
Yes, sir.
Man, I must say, my greatest trial was probably having to, being exposed to consciousness, better understanding. That comes with being isolated. Especially when you have a different frame of mind. You know what I'm saying? You could be with a lot of people and still be by yourself. You still be lonely. But in this case, people let you know where they stand, when it comes down to beliefs and all that kind of stuff. So they kind of leave you, they abandon you. So I think my greatest trial in life was being abandoned or feeling abandoned. And because that's the only thing I can say. I felt abandoned. But after it all lifted, I understood why I needed my time alone, why I had to be, kicked to the side. But yeah, and that incident that I'm referring to is like my journey into, my evolution, becoming me, knowing who I am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The church kind of threw me away. My family threw me away. It burned. I ain't cried but twice, but it burned. And how did I overcome? How did I get over it? It's God, man. Just wiping tears and understanding. It was Bishop Carlton Pearson that probably called me when I was at my worst. And he was like, how are you holding up? I was like, I'm good. I just feel like, I'm alone, And then he started to minister to me. He says, you're not alone, you're just lonely. You're not by yourself. You're just lonely. You know what I'm saying? And I started to look at it from a different perspective. And then he starts to give me, ways to kind of get over it. He was like, read, study, turn it into something. Turn that downtime, write a book, do this, do that. And I listened that day and I started to embrace my time being alone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I started to study, then I started to look at every prophet of God in scripture.
Come on with it.
No matter who you read about, they had their wilderness period, their time of being alone. So I embraced it. I became a better me, I became a better me, man. So that's kind of how I got out of it, man. Turned that negative energy, turned it into study time. So I would work and I'd have Minister Farrakhan in my ear. I'd be, I'd be doing something and I have another teacher in my ear. He's teaching something else. And, yeah, so that's kind of how it all happened, man.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. And my sister Naima said teach. Okay. My next question is, what type of music do you listen to outside of gospel?
What type of music do I listen to outside of gospel? I love R&B. I love Joe Thomas.
Okay, okay.
I love Joe Thomas. Uh, I love, again, Al Green.
Okay,
I
okay.
love the Gap Band.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I love, PJ Morton. Man, you name them, man. I just love good music. I love good music and good lyrics.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love good music and I love good lyrics. I love simple songs, and them was the 90s, 80s and 90s songs. Yeah, so.
Okay, yes, sir. Oh, well, Pastor, okay, so here's the last two questions we have for you. When you pastor to your the congregation, what advice would you give to future husbands?
Pastoring a congregation. Say your question again. Repeat
As
your
I said,
question.
what advice would you give to future husbands?
Future husbands.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Brother Joshua, you got some good questions. What advice would I give to future husbands? I guess I would say this in all honesty, man, understand marriage.
Mm, mm.
Number one. Number two, I would say define it. Make sure it's properly defined.
Yes, sir.
Because, I got married when I was 17. And marriage today, I don't see it the same, because I got married because, I'm a Christian. So, this is not for everybody, but where I'm from, you don't put money into marriage, you put that in the wedding, and after the wedding, you good. You just go home, and then you try to stay together.
Mm.
But marriage it's something to do, and you got to know what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you got to know your role and all of that. So that would be my advice. Make sure that you understand what marriage is, and make sure you get married for the right reasons. I got a lot of people get married to legalize fornication. Fornicating. So if you get married, you legalize fornication.
Yes,
sir.
Nothing
to do with love. You just free to do that.
Yes, sir.
But marriage is so much bigger than love making. So I would just say, man, know what it is.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. And Minister Aisha says R&B, yes. And my sister Miriam says PJ Morton is so talented. Wonderful. Okay, Pastor, the last question we have for you, sir. What would you like your legacy to be?
What would I like my legacy to be? I want people to say that Pastor Tim gave all he had to make sure that Christians who were caught up into, it's, a bunch of misunderstandings, warped philosophies, I call it a burning house. I want people to be able to say, Pastor Tim rescued me from the Christian burning house. He made me understand, my purpose. Made me understand the God concept, you know what I'm saying? And that's just by pointing people to themselves. Because when you know God, you know yourself.
That's right.
And when you know yourself, you know God.
That's
so
right.
My legacy, I just want people to say, Pastor Tim gave it his all, raised the dead. Yes, sir.
Phenomenal. Yes, sir. People bearing witness. Okay, well, Pastor, I want to thank you on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast. You did a great job today. You've given us amazing information, as well as inspiration. May God bless you, your family, and your congregation. And next time you come to Atlanta, we will make sure we link up, sir.
Listen, next time I come to Atlanta, it's gonna be on me. I want to sit down, take you out, so we can catch up. And I look forward to it. I should be doing that sooner than later, so look out for a text from me. And to your listening audience, thank y'all for having me. I hope I didn't bore y'all. I want all my brothers and sisters to know in the nation. I want y'all to know I love y'all. Y'all keep, when y'all talk to God, call my name. Thank y'all so much. And keep me in prayer, and I'll do likewise for you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. God bless, sir.
Peace.
Yes, sir.